Hi everyone, thanks for watching. You can support our work on our website, ageoftruthtv. And please like our videos, subscribe to our channels on YouTube, BitChute and Brighteon. And remember to hit the bell for notifications. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook. To be sure not to miss any of our shows, you can sign up for our newsletter on our website, ageoftruthtv. Hey Nancy.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
And nice
I
to
saw
meet you.
all your pictures.
Thank you so much. It was an amazing trip.
That was amazing.
Really, I could talk for a long time about that.
Yeah, I understand.
Really great.
So
Exactly.
yeah, everything's great. It's really hot here in Mississippi, but it's this is just a wonderful time for us all to be alive, in my opinion. So, the
Absolutely.
world.
Okay, just give me a second. I'll put the camera on for the studio. Let me see.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Age of Truth TV. I'm Lucas Alexander in Copenhagen, Denmark. Our special guest today is a former U.S. military Department of Defense employee and interdimensional and extraterrestrial contactee. She has a remarkable story, a lifelong connection with what she claims is her ET extraterrestrial family. They take her on board their mothership and give her very special information about our universal connection and what is going on planet Earth. She is here to share her fascinating information, and we are thrilled to welcome on the show Nancy Thames. Good evening from Copenhagen, Denmark, and welcome to Age of Truth TV. Please like our videos and subscribe to our channel and hit the bell for notifications. We have a really exciting and fascinating show for you today with a wonderful lady from Mississippi in the South who has a remarkable story to share. She is a contactee of extraterrestrial, interdimensional alien beings, and we would love to hear how all that is connected with her life, her story, and our situation on planet Earth and in the universe. So first of all, welcome and good morning to Mississippi, to Nancy Thames. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I am proud to be here. Thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity. I could not do what I'm doing without you. So thank you very much. So yes, I'm proud to be here.
That's wonderful. It's exciting. And a lot of people will probably think that this will be a very eye-opening experience listening to your story. And before we go into details, please just tell people a little bit about your backstory and your history.
Absolutely. My name is Nancy Thames. I am a lifelong contactee with interdimensional beings and extraterrestrials. And I have physical face-to-face interactions, contact with these beings. And throughout my life, they have been coming and getting me ready to become the person I am today, a person who is proud of who I am, a person that understands my experiences throughout my life and realized that it had a higher purpose, and at different levels of my age and understanding and my knowledge and perception, it was viewed in many different ways, and it had to be done this way so I could be able to interact and explain these things to humanity. I've experienced fear. I have experienced anxiety. I have experienced having to suppress who I am. All these things that humanity has had to do because the world around us up until this point was not ready to hear about these experiences. It was considered demonic. It was considered as a mental health issue. And these things would stop and eliminate a lot of people from talking about who they are and what they were experiencing. And this is a hard thing for any soul to go through, to have to not be who you are and not to be able to communicate about yourself. So when I was young, my first conscious memories started at around age 2 or 3, and they were beautiful and fun. And they made it that way. Even if I was feeling a little whatever, they could pull an image from my head. Like if my mother had read me a storybook earlier, they could pull an image from my mind and present it to me to see. They could change the scenery around me to make it interesting and help me to engage and learn and experience the experience in a fun way, an imaginative way. And as I got older, it was wonderful. And it was not until I became into junior high and my teenage years where the world around me had started programming me and influencing me and changing my perceptions on my experiences and how other people viewed these things. So this is when I really started to suppress it, because I realized the world did not want to hear what I had to say. The world didn't want to hear what anyone had to say, because we've been programmed to think certain ways about things in our life. So, it's just been an ongoing thing. And about 2 years ago, I'm 64 years old. So this has been happening for a very long time. And about 2 years ago, they gifted me and my son, not at the same time, not in the same way, and not in the same place, but gifted us Kundalini awakenings, which helped profoundly for us to understand our purpose here on this planet and who we are on the inside. I am not the Nancy Thames that the world around me has programmed me to be, but I found my inner soul self, the one that came here, chose to be here on earth, chose to be here at this pivotal moment that we are experiencing on this planet earth. We are going through an evolutionary cycle process to become better human beings. And the world around us is reaching higher levels of consciousness. And we, whether we realize it or not, all chose to be here and be a part of this great step in evolution in the process of our becoming who we were meant to be, not what was programmed and what we've been trained to be in this 3D realm. We are moving from this realm into higher realms of pure love and unity. And these things will not happen overnight. It is a slow process, just like in our creation, and it has to be done in this slow process so that our minds and our brains are not overwhelmed. We can only handle so much information in a gradual way so that we can maintain our human lives here on this planet. So I'll let you kind of ask me anything you would like to ask me, because I could just talk forever.
Wow, yes, that was quite an introduction, but people would, people need to certainly know before we go into the more esoteric stuff about alien contact and the person that you are now. But I mean, you worked for years in the US military, in the Department of Defense. And that is very interesting, because was that where you really acquired some information about alien activity and the fact that the government is aware of alien existence on planet Earth and in the universe, and that they're hiding this information from us? You talked about you being 2 or 3 years old when you had your first alien encounter, but I mean, how did that change when you worked for the military? Did you get some insight information?
And from my perspective and from a interdimensional perspective, what that did for me was it gave me an experience. And I know now through my experiences and contacts, and I can explain later on how I know these things, but I was an interdimensional being before I came to Earth, and I chose to be here. And I represent that aspect of a higher realm of consciousness. So I chose to be here. So everything in my life, everything good or bad, and I've had many, many struggles just like any other human being, everything was to put me in a place in a different country to live. Everything was done in a intentional way by the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials for me to experience these things, because what better way for them to understand what it's like to be a human being than send someone here to incarnate, and through my eyes they can experience all these things and understand what it's really like. So for me, working with the Department of Defense, and I was a civilian and I worked in dentistry, and what that did, or what I feel I gained from that, I worked with soldiers, preparing them to deploy overseas, to go to war. So I saw it from a soldier's perspective, what it's like, and from what a family member would feel like, because my brother was full-time in the Army, and we experienced Desert Storm and all these things with him. So from what I gained from this was being exposed to higher technology that the military has access to, that we do not have in our everyday life, in our hospitals, in our dental clinics and hospitals in different fractions. So I was exposed to the 3D imaging. And what was significant about that is that the interdimensionals had sent my son and I, who is an experiencer just like I am and has the full Kundalini and contacts, etc. They sent us to Mexico because they wanted us to meet an indigenous tribe and experience some things there, which I'll go into. But the significant is when I got back from Mexico, this is exactly when they were having the inaugural congressional hearings in Mexico about the Peruvian mummies that were displayed to them. And most people here in the United States, and maybe across the world, but here in the United States, they dismissed it and really did not even show it internationally, and show it within the United States because of the man that was presenting it. I will not say his name. That is not fair. Anyway, but because in the past, perhaps he had made some jump ahead claims on what things truly were. And in this case, he was judged before he even got to, and people really watched it all because they judged him in the beginning. But these mummies, and I watched these hearings on YouTube, every single minute of it, and they used 3-dimensional X-ray technology. And this is what I'm talking about. In this technology, it is not like we normally take X-rays where we take the camera and here's the bone or a tooth, whichever, and you're taking the picture from the front or the back side, from an angle, from side to side. When you do things in a 3-dimension X-ray, it takes the X-ray from within, all around, from every aspect, from inside, anything from every vessel, ligament, every attachment would show. There is no cheating these X-rays. So they were claiming that there was children's bones, chicken bones, et cetera, dog bones, et cetera, that perhaps he had put in there to try to make these claims. But when I looked at these X-rays, you cannot lie on these X-rays. If it was a chicken bone or a child bone, it would stand out like a sore thumb. So any researcher or anybody with a radiology intelligence and knowledge would know those were real. Those were real. But it never got really, it got shunned down big time in the United States.
So they were real what? Real aliens, real mummies?
Yes.
Not
they
human
were real
mummies. Not human mummies, but alien mummies.
Alien mummies, yes.
Okay.
And they were not any extraterrestrial I have ever seen. It looks very similar to grays, but they are much shorter. And the fact that they have eggs, I have no knowledge of any race having eggs. So this goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So, and I think it's pretty well-known knowledge that our history of our planet, we know very little about the true history, and we don't even really know our true origins. I think I know, and a lot of people know, which I think we were seeded here from the cosmic realm. You know, I do not believe that we evolved from monkeys at all, but that's, you know, that's just the way I feel. And that's pretty much what the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials have confirmed with me. But so
and you know about these X-rays because you were working as a dentist
yes,
for the military.
that's where it all plays in.
Were you privy to any information about our alien existence on planet Earth and in other planetary systems? I mean, when you were there, we've heard about DODs coming out talking about them getting some information, secret information about what is really going on, and that the government know about this and have known for a long time. But did you hear anything about this? Because obviously you had been a contactee since childhood. So while you were working for the military and were in those circles for a long time, you were already involved in with alien contact anyway, and knew about these things.
I did, but I did not give them any knowledge of who I was and my experiences. And I do not know if they knew about me. I do know I was a direct hire, and it wasn't a very hard process for me being a civilian. So that's why I think that the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials were more an instigator in this than anything on the military end. And my experiences are from my experiences. And I was not privileged. You know, I will admit that I used to ask like pilots when they would be in the chair, you know, if they had seen things or you know, whatever. But this type of information is not important, and because it could be labeled as hearsay. So I don't dwell on that kind of thing. And you know, just because I had a security clearance, which I did, and just because I worked for there, that does not define where my knowledge comes from. My knowledge comes from my direct physical and my lineage with the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials.
So it's other people who are working for the military and on other levels or in other factions that perhaps knew about this or acquired some information about alien existence. Then
Yes, anybody can hear information. It's one thing to hear information, and it's another thing to have firsthand positive proof. So you have to understand, a lot of these people that come out here and make all these claims, they're not doing this in the best interest of humanity necessarily. It could be self-serving. It could be their own narrative for their own agenda. So keeping in mind, we all, and even people should not necessarily believe me, we should all do our own research and check things out, because until we experience and know these things, we need to know ourselves. And this is what my message is. We all chose to be here. We are all a part of this worldwide phenomena. We need to look within, figure out our inner soul self, figure out what is our soul purpose, what is our reason, why did we choose to be here, and meditate within yourself, ask your subconscious to open up into your human consciousness and help you as we progress through this disclosure, as we progress through our ascension, as we progress into higher levels of consciousness in our evolutionary stage, to ask for the guidance from within and understand who we are. Because in my opinion, humanity, and from an extraterrestrial and interdimensional perspective, humanity, we are the disclosure. Human beings are the disclosure us figuring out who we are, our purpose, and understanding that by the time we reach this higher consciousness and look within and understand who we are, it will not matter what the government tells us. We will already know within our own selves, from our heart and from our inner knowledge, that we know. So I truly believe we are the disclosure. This is what interdimensionals and extraterrestrials have been waiting on, is for us to understand who we are.
So you're saying that we, humanity, we are the disclosure. But I mean,
Yes.
how can we be the disclosure if we don't have the experiences that you're talking about and the experiences that you're having? Or if we were, not everybody, most people are not working at secret military bases, coming out like Bob Lazar, for example, talking about him, experiencing extraterrestrials or alien crafts and all of that. I mean, not a lot of people can have these experiences. So how can we be the disclosure?
But you have to understand, from their way of looking at it, I think they know what a majority of what I know. So why would they come out and shake the world into fear when they know that evolution is going to run its course and do a lot of this for them? Because as we reach higher levels of consciousness in evolution, negativity and our awareness, our understanding of the world around us will change and become bigger. Right now, we're in a 3D realm, and we understand the world by using our 5 senses. As we branch out into higher awareness, we will see more, we will experience more, we will understand more. Things will be known to us that we thought was demonic, we thought was unimaginable. And these things are not magic. These things are real. Life is going on all around us. We simply cannot see it, but we have to let evolution run its course. And I'm sure that's partly what they're doing. And there's other reasons. That there's a lot of things they don't want to answer to because of this 70 to 80 years of suppressing it. A lot of bad things have been done, but we will become a generation of better understanding, a generation of understanding forgiveness, and understand that the things in our past had to happen to humanity to make humanity who it is today.
Why do you think that is? Why do humanity have to suffer? I mean, and go through such enormous turmoil and hell, which is basically what this earthly realm is all about, or how it's been hijacked and steered by these satanic, dictators behind the New World Order and all of that. I mean, if there was a God, for example, why does God not intervene? If there are benevolent alien beings who wants to do humanity some good, why don't they come here and rescue us and help us and tell us that they're here?
They are not hiding from us. They're all over our skies. They're all over our solar system and throughout the universes and many other universes and galaxies.
People can't see them normally.
That's right. We cannot see them because we are locked in this 3D realm. What we have to do is learn to be better human beings, get us out of this 3D realm and advance up to higher consciousness. Higher consciousness, 4th dimension, 5th dimension are not physical places. These are higher levels of consciousness. Only evil and negativity can control in this 3D realm. We have to outgrow and realize that this ways of life and negative programming no longer serve us and start becoming better human beings. Learn to be more positive. And throughout this evolutionary process, just like it worked with the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials, and they've shown me this in visions, that we will simply start walking away from the negative aspects of this world and this realm that we live in and start walking away from it because it no longer serves us. And we want better. We want peace and love and unity. We want to understand our place, not only on our planet, but within the universe and our place within the cosmic realm, because we are all connected. We are all connected. Everything on our planet is a living conscious being, including plants, insects, everything. Everything is a living conscious being. Our air, our water, our planet Earth is a living conscious being. And our universe is a living conscious being, extraterrestrials and interdimensionals. So we are all connected and we are all one. And when we finally become united in unity, we are unstoppable. But in the 3D realm, these negative forces, the cabal, the dark hats, etc., whatever you want to, Illuminati, etc., it goes on and on, dark fractions of government, etc., have worked intensely throughout past histories, generations of our dimension, keeping humanity dumbed down, to keep us locked into this frame, because they cannot make money off of intelligent, healthy human beings. So our air, our water, our food, everything has toxins in it, and our pineal gland is shrunken down. All these things were done intentionally to keep us at a lower level that they can manipulate and control. But we are waking up, and they know this, and they are fighting tooth and nail, trying to keep us under their lock and key. But that's not going to happen. There's nothing they can do about it. We are waking up, and it is something that is going to change our planet, change our world. And this is what every living creature, conscious being on our planet, has been waiting for humans to wake up. Interdimensionals and extraterrestrial, they all been waiting, and they are here now in great numbers and motherships watching us evolve. And it's kind of like the analogy of a little caterpillar in the cocoon working its way out to become the beautiful butterfly. That's what we are doing right now. And we're getting further and further along. I see the changes in the world around us, and it's happening every day. We just have to realize we are a part of it. We are the disclosure, and we need to understand that there's beautiful, wonderful things to look forward to, and there's beautiful things all around us. And don't dwell on the negative aspects of this realm, because we are changing.
We have seen a great awakening, especially in the last 4 years, and also in the last 10, 15 years also. So that's quite amazing. And everything you're saying about unity, love, being more positive and all that, working together, waking up, getting to know who we really are, all of that is an absolute truth. But when you're talking about motherships and spaceships all around us, above the skies, in front of us, but we can't see it, that's your story, that's your truth from your experience, and we're going to hear that. But do we really see a change? Yes, there's been a mass awakening, but not really when you see the percentage of humans on this planet. So why don't they help these benevolent ETs? And what's going to happen? Are we going to just go down the drain and be totally enslaved?
Well, human beings, all of us made a choice to be here. Our past life memories are erased when we come into this realm. And we made soul contracts or agreements on what we want to experience, and also sometimes our length of stay and how, what we're here to learn or experience. So interdimensionals and extraterrestrials are bound by a cosmic law. They cannot interfere with humanity's free will to be here on this planet. So they cannot come down here and interfere with things that we have agreed upon. We don't remember what our agreements were, but we made agreements. So
sorry to just jump in here, Nancy, but what if we made an agreement based upon a false reality, a false dimension called the white light at the point of death, this karma wheel soul trap factory dimension, maybe in the fourth dimension, by these archons, jinns, demons, trying to lure us back into the system, go back on planet Earth with a white memory, and just so that the soul can go on and on, they can feed on the human anxiety, angst, fear, terror, and all that. So maybe we did not make the soul contract. Maybe we did not agree to come back here. Who would come back and be in misery?
Well, if that is the case, we made a decision for that to happen. We have a lot more choice in the situation than what you realize. But as far as the reasons why they can't come down and do this is because of our agreements, whatever they are. And it's just like some agreements are to have interactions with extraterrestrials, and people don't remember that agreement before they got here. And a lot of them consider themselves abductees because they don't remember these things. And we can go into that whole scenario in a minute. But anyway, back to what you're asking me. I have met an archon before, and a extraterrestrial introduced me to them and told me not to be judgmental and told me to not judge the book by the cover, so to speak, because they are a dying race. They are dying because there's too much good, too much positive information. Our world is surrounded with information that it didn't have before. And through our intelligence, we are learning to make the right decisions because the choices are out there that it wasn't before. Because of our lower consciousness and our lower level of understanding the world around us, we were taken advantage of. And it's to the point now they are losing their control, their manipulations, because we are reaching that level that is not acceptable to us.
So if people learn or understand that heaven is a trap, maybe a karma wheel trap, and these archons are projecting themselves as Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, your beloved grandmother, or what have you, and beaming a frequency of love and light, and you'll go into this tunnel of light and you'll be deceived again. Then can you then understand that this may be a lie, and then to choose not to reincarnate on planet Earth again and go to somewhere else, source or another planetary system, or where? What would you think?
When I was 30 years old and I saw my children have their first contact taken, whatever the word you want to use, I was fully conscious and I woke up and I witnessed it. And these were not the same three grays that come for me to take me to craft to see the interdimensionals and other extraterrestrials. These were different. So I witnessed my sons being taken for, and I experienced that. So they opened up a vision and I saw myself. They wanted me to understand. Well, I asked them, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to my children? What is the purpose? What does it mean? And at 30 years old, they explained it to me the best they could because of my consciousness level at that time and my understanding and my programming. So there was a lot they had to try to get through. But anyway, so they opened up a vision and let me see me myself in physical form in a vision, making the agreement to come to Earth and be here at this pivotal moment to assist humanity in understanding we are not alone in the universe. We have been told lots of misinformation, and that this is part of an evolutionary process, an awakening, so to speak, of us reaching higher levels of consciousness in terms that a 30-year-old 34 years ago could understand. So what I'm trying to get at is that when I saw myself and I made the agreement, it was presented to me and I agreed. And so that is why I'm here. And the way that they have showed me in visions is that we all we make agreements. We don't remember any of the stuff. But when we make these agreements, we don't necessarily, we plan pretty much what's going to happen here on Earth, and they cannot interfere with that.
What if we are deceived by this soul harvesting factory, an illusionary realm created by these archons, which may be a holographic, deception, and not a real place that would benefit you, maybe?
Okay, the way they explained it to me is that when we are in a human vessel, this is a vessel, this is a temporary experience, the shortest experience of any beings throughout any galaxies or universes. This is our shortest one we will experience. And when we leave this vessel and our soul and our consciousness, which are not in an organ in our body, because our body does die and it is gone, we go up to what I refer to as a group of elders. And that's the way that they were presented to me in name, was a group of elders. And it is decided between you and them. If you have experienced everything you wanted to experience here on this earth, if you have not, then you will come back and experience again. If you have reached this, and the elders and all, you have the choice to become a interdimensional, an extraterrestrial, a rock, a dolphin, anything that you desire to experience next. And at some point, if you feel and you decide that you've experienced all these things, you can stay in a non-physical form up in the highest realm of consciousness. And it goes way beyond 12. 12 dimensions is all we know of. Our human construct and perception of these realities are not fully understood. So it's above and beyond anything that we perceive. And there are many, many dimensions, and we are immortal. Our souls are immortal. We can experience many, many different things. Now, I do know that there are soul-bound souls. I do know there are interplanetary souls. I do know that there are souls that come from the angelic realm. But even soul-bound, I don't think, I think that they may have originated, but once you reach that level and you've experienced it, you have choices in where you want to go.
We know that there's a lot of people on planet Earth right now in a human bodysuit that are very easily suggestible. They'll do exactly what they're told. They're captured by fear if they look at the television and listen to the news and whatever is going on. We know exactly what happened the last 4 years and also before that. And right now with the war and
Yes.
everything going on, there's a constant threat of human extinction and havoc, wars and terror and all that. So if people are easily suggestible, why should they not be very easily suggestible in the fourth dimension when leaving the body with the same consciousness? If somebody is showing themselves as being an elder or Jesus or God, what have you, grandmother, then maybe you'll certainly believe that as well.
Wars and negativity only occur in this 3D realm. That's the beauty of evolution, is to move us from this realm into a realm of dismissing all negative aspects, dismissing and understanding wars and the things of this nature do not serve us. So those things will not exist in those realms. And only the people that it continues to happen are not waking up, are not moving on to higher levels of consciousness, because they simply do not exist in evolved realms. Interdimensionals and extraterrestrials believe in a creator source. They believe our concept of God is not the same as the way they see it. Their concept is that he or she, it is not either one, is of the highest consciousness and over all universes and all galaxies.
A universal force, huh?
Yes, yeah. Exactly. So the
that realm, which is just above the three-dimensional realm on which we operate, if that was hijacked by these archons within the matrix here to deceive us, to enslave us on this planet and just around it, to keep coming back here because they want to feed on this consciousness and this soul, this very divine soul, immortal soul that we have, then that is the ultimate deception, right? And it may also be the archons or the reptilian rays, whatever we hear a lot of people say that are behind the wars, behind the the political top echelon of the Illuminati and everybody creating everything that's going on this planet?
Humans are our worst enemy. And what I'm trying to explain is that in this realm, this is where all this negative things can happen. So they want to keep us in this realm. This is where they have control. They do not have control in higher consciousness or in the fourth or fifth dimension. They have no control. So they want to keep us here. They want to keep us in their controllable level.
You do not believe that deception and a construct can happen in the fourth dimension?
No, I do not. I do not, because those are human concepts to do exactly what it's doing, to keep us in fear and give us the negative thought of, well, that we are trapped here. If they were here in this realm, they can easily come to follow us in the other.
If you don't believe that, then why do we keep on reincarnating, coming back here with a wiped memory, our souls going into a new body, going through whatever we have to go through again? Why don't we remember? What's the purpose of this continuing circle of reincarnation?
To keep us in the 3D realm. But
who is doing that? The archons in the fourth dimension that you don't believe in?
They're keeping us in a negative state to keep us here earthbound, because they are in control in this realm. But we are moving out. They will have no control. And they know
the archons, you mean, or the people on this planet?
Both. I think they kind of like work together because they're filling their pockets, and the other forces are feeding their energy. So they're kind of like, even if they don't know it, they're all working together to do the same thing.
Where do these archons from where do they operate if they keep recycling our souls?
It is in this realm. They cannot go into the next realm. It's just like, I'm trying to think of a great way of putting this.
But it couldn't be on the three-dimensional plane when we leave the body, right? Because we can't see the soul. I mean, the soul is in another dimension in a way, right? It goes to another dimension. Where's this heavenly construct that we maybe cannot bypass totally?
Our soul, once we get out of this dimension and we say we're in the fourth dimension and we die and our soul goes up, it goes from the place, the level of ascension that we were in, or the dimension that we were in, and the decisions will be made of where we go next. But from what I've been told, we're already on the right path, of a positive, pure path. So we're not going to go backwards. We're not going to go backwards. It's forward. It's the go ahead from here on out. We're moving up, just like the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials are 1 billion years ahead of us in evolution. They went through this same process, and they've seen other beings in other galaxies and planets go through the same process. And we are top priority in the cosmic realm, because this is a major step for us to get out of this locked in realm that we've been controlled and manipulated in. This is a big deal, not only to us, but to the whole universe, because of our connection. This not only opens a door and opportunity for us, but it affects them, because everything that happens to us affects them. We are all one. We are all united. So they have had to sit here.
But do you know, or were you told why
I know.
Reincarnating?
Because we have to get out of this realm. Once we are out of this realm, when we are born in our futures, we will know probably all of our past lives. We will know that will not be blocked from us anymore. And we will be moving forward from here on out. We will not return back into this negative realm. We will have evolved from it. It no longer serves any purpose. We've experienced it all. There's no reason for us to go backwards or experience it ever again. we are past that point, and that's what's
You
happening.
mean reincarnating again? There's no reason to reincarnate again.
We can reincarnate, but it doesn't have to be in a human form. It could be in a higher, it could be an extraterrestrial or an interdimensional, or it could be a
Right.
dolphin or a whale. It could be anything. We will never go backwards.
When you say we will not go backwards, but we'll keep moving forward, you're kind of talking about the construct of time, which does not exist.
There is no such thing time in the interdimensional, extraterrestrial, cosmic realm. There is no such thing as time.
Right.
So everything for them is happening here and now. It's all. So, for example, I'm 64 years old, and here on Earth with my human consciousness, that seems like a very long time. But to them, that is but a speck. It is nothing. In reality, my son and I have the same experience and stuff, and he and I have these in-depth conversations from a interdimensional extraterrestrial perspective. And we're humans, and we don't know everything. Every day we're learning new things. But what if he and I are in a sleep stasis up there, and this is just a mere dream?
Like in the Matrix, the movie, right? Or an Avatar.
There's so many. We are just now at the beginning of the stepping stones of understanding our world and the universe around us. And it's amazing. It's amazing. We have so much to look forward to, nothing to be afraid of.
And you got all of this information and your understanding from being a lifelong contactee. Yes. With this specific alien group that are visiting you. And so let's get into that and hear about your first experiences and your general experiences with this particular group. You call them a group of Greys. We don't hear a lot of favorable things about the Greys. You even say that I think you say that they're brown. So there are brown Greys. I mean, do explain that one first of all, but also, do you know, or do you suspect that perhaps this particular Grey that you're very involved with could be a deceiver as well, maybe also an archon in disguise, trying to disinform you?
The answer is no. And I will explain why. There are many, many different races of Greys. There's over 60 different races of Greys, all different colors, all different heights, and they have different facial type features, and they are all biological. A lot of people say that they're robotic. They are not. They are biological. They are very task-oriented, meaning that they do not show any emotions. They do not, in their reality, there is no emotions. There is no negotiating with them. When they're visiting a human being, it is for a purpose, and that is their priority. There's no negotiating with them.
So couldn't they be biological robots? Some people say that they're engineered kind of AI, of the AI version of humanity in the future.
That's a human concept. That is not true. They are biological, and I can understand where people could get that, think that, because of they are telepathic. They do not have, they are strictly telepathic. They do not have the emotions that we have. No other beings in the universe, in the cosmic realm, have the emotions that we do. And none of them use verbal language like we do.
How about the Nordic?
Yeah, so they can, but it's not normally what they use. And some of them, when they come to Earth, they have to work on these verbal skills because in their reality, they're not used. So, and I've met people like that too. But anyway, what I'm trying to explain to you is that every single race has many, many different ones. Like we call the Anunnaki. There's many different races of Anunnaki. There's reptilians. There's many different races of reptilians, Greys. Like I said, many different races. Arcturians, Palladians, Nordics, many, many different races. And the Grey is a female that I am bonded with. And she is reddish brown, and she is a hybrid a gray hybrid that was designed by the interdimensionals and the tall grays to do the legwork. So from the group of interdimensionals that I come from, it's on a huge mothership. And there are many, all kinds of extraterrestrials that work in unison up there with them. They travel interdimensionally all over different galaxies and dimensions looking for races that are like we are, on the verge of their ascension, on their verge of evolution. And that's why they sent me, and that's why they do what they do, because we're not the only beings in the universes or galaxies. And
so you are one of them.
Yes.
And you're one of
I am
these
a human being.
You're one of these red brownish grays.
No. I was an interdimensional, and this female gray is bonded with me and has been with me since my birth here. And she was with me in that reality. She is bonded with me there as well.
It's like my guardian. Have a soul?
She is my guardian. I love her. I love her. She is a watcher, a protector, a guardian, and travels with me wherever I go.
Do you know if she has a soul?
Yes, she does.
She has a soul. So
and
some of these aliens and some of these grays, they are soul beings. So they have a soul inside. They're not interdimensional or what. They are physical beings with a soul.
Yes, and believe in the creator source.
Mm-hmm. But they do not have emotions, you say.
Like we have. That does not mean they do not, in their own way, know how to make a joke. It does not mean that they do not experience love or loss. They just do not experience the emotions that we do, which is anxiety, fear, traumatic type emotions. They do not experience that. So they are telepathic. So when we have an experience, and what a lot of people label as abductions, what is happening is that for me, I'm not experiencing my fear or anxiety when it occurred. It was not from what they look like. It is from the frequency exchange between a human being and an extraterrestrial or interdimensional. They are of a higher frequency than we are. We are at a very low frequency being in this realm. They are of higher realms and have a higher frequency. So when you come face to face in contact with an interdimensional or extraterrestrial, this feeling is unreal. It is overwhelming. It is nothing we've ever experienced on our planet, and our brain does not know what to make of this. So in our genetics, from being way back from like in caveman days, where everything that we experienced was a predator, this gene pops out and we get this fight or flight reaction that pops up. And when that happens, interdimensionals and extraterrestrials are not familiar or like this anxiety or immense fear that we feel. So they will simply tap us out and put us in a sedated, manageable state. And it's really doing us a favor because we still go through the experience, but they take away all these emotions that we have.
So you were not scared or full of fear when you experienced this for the first time?
Oh, I have had many times. I've had many times that I experienced it. And I had to, when I became a teenager, I started to experience it because the world around me was telling me it was not natural. It was demonic. It was not right. It was, you're crazy, et cetera, et cetera. So when I, as a young girl, would experience it when the world started influencing me, yes, I experienced it. And then I had to learn through my experiences, which were continuing, that if I wanted to understand it more, I had to work on my fear. I had to understand it. So basically what it is that I had to say, look within and say, I know what this feeling is, and push through it.
And could you do that when you were only 2 or 3 and from then
At least,
on? I mean, how did you
yes.
experience it? Did it come to you in the night when you were in your bed, or how did this occur?
Most of the times it was because the rest of my family would be asleep. And yes, and so, and it has happened.
And
It
did it
doesn't matter.
manifest in front of you in
Yes,
physical form so that you
yes,
could feel that you could actually touch
yeah.
this, what you
Mhm.
call a female being?
Yes, I could touch. I touch, hold hands, touch space, touch,
What
embrace
did she, what does she feel like?
the
What's the
dolphin.
skin like?
She feels like a dolphin in it. Well, and it feels colder than our skin. But of course, if we're in bed, we're all wrapped up in blankets and stuff. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but she feels like a dolphin.
And
Yeah.
what does she look like? And how do you know it's a she? I mean, what's the fee? Have you tried to make a drawing of the face?
Yes, absolutely. I have a lot of drawings that I've done, and a lot of it's on my website, which is timefordisclosure.com. Not all of it, but some of it is. And it's the frequency exchange. I know I love her, and I know that I've known her forever, even before here. I know that we have great love, and she has for me. And I know from her frequency that she's female. And you have to understand, in the cosmic realms, interdimensionals and extraterrestrials, they do not use names. Their frequency is their signature and who they are. So we communicate telepathic. And so you have to understand, whatever I feel or any human being feels when you're face to face with them, they feel it 10 times the amount that we feel. This is uncomfortable to them. And that's why they put us in that different state, that kind of a sedated without the medication state. And the only problem with that, though, is that when we return and wake up, we have missing time. We have fragmented memories. And our brain tries to fill in this missing time in bits and pieces. And the last thing it remembers is the fear. It doesn't have the full story because we are, I guess, for a better word, blacked out, or whatever you want to call it. So it fills it in. And a lot of times it is with negative aspects because that's all the brain knows to do at the time. And
But
and a lot
this female entity, this female
Mhm.
ET, why didn't she reveal her name to you? And
He
throughout
doesn't have
her
a name.
life, I mean, this is what we know, when we know human being, we address each other and we relate to each other by name. Would that not be more personal in general if you could call it or her something?
In their reality, their frequency, they are not verbal to each other. There is no reason to label.
Yeah, but you are in a different reality. You're in
Not
this
when I'm
reality,
up there, not when I'm with them.
but
I
in the
understand
bedroom.
this reality.
But
And
when
I
you're in the
don't,
bedroom, when she comes to you in the physical form here in front of you, which I guess also happens, huh?
yes. And like if I'm asleep, I've heard them from time to time call my name Nancy, but not in general. That's because for whatever reason, I did not wake up. Usually I feel their frequency and I wake up. I know before they're coming. I feel it. I can feel the frequency. In
So
their
you feel
reality,
it before it actually happens
yes,
and they arrive or they
yes,
materialize, but no
yes.
names. So there's
No.
no name for this entity. And why not when they want to relate to you, who is a human and have a certain mission, I guess, with being a contactee for them for whatever reason?
Because in their realm, everything is frequency. Their frequency is their signature. There is no need to label things because they are nonverbal. They already know these things. We are at a lower consciousness. We label and name things. There's no need for that in their level of consciousness.
And how do you express or explain to people what or who that is then without a name?
I say that they are a billion years ahead of us in evolution. There is no humanizing any aspect of their reality. And we have to understand this. We have to understand who they are. They are not gods. They are not angels. They are a billion years ahead of us. What our physics does not apply in their reality. Our thinking.
So do they know, or have they told you? Take us through also a typical,
Sure.
if there is a typical contactee encounter and you go to these motherships. I mean, do they explain to you what is going to happen on planet Earth, why this is a pivotal time, a dangerous, difficult time, but also a changing times, and we're at a crossroad. We either go down the path of enlightenment or we stay, maybe go further into the matrix, which is what is happening at the moment. People are divided. And what will happen in the future? Will this change? Will we see a better world quite soon? Or is it going to be very bad, which is what we, well, for lack of a better word, fear, or have been told for a long time, with the
And where does fear
implementation of
come
this,
from?
with the
Where does
implementation of
fear?
all this this new world order stuff here. But I
Yeah.
mean, take us through a typical encounter. Why do they operate on you when they experiment on you, when they take you to?
They don't experiment on me.
They don't.
No.
What do
When
they
I
do?
go to craft, here's what happens. They come and get me. When I was younger, I was at a lower frequency. I'm at a higher frequency, not at their level or their frequency. I'm a human being having a human experience. I'm an energy being like us all. We are all energy beings having a human experience. So when they would come to get me, they would take a device, and the female gray that's not gray would run it from head to toe, toe to head, up and down. And what she was doing, so I would start to feel my body vibrating a lot. And then my body would start to either lift or raise off the bed. And then I would notice that I would be holding her hand, and I would look around, and then she would take me through the ceiling or through a window or through a door. And as we were going through the attic, I would look around and see the insulation, the boxes of Christmas ornaments, et cetera, that my parents kept stored. And, as I got older, I realized human beings cannot do this. Our physics, this is not what we can do on Earth. So now I understand through all these 64 years of them giving me time to understand and learn, they were changing my frequency from this 3D realm to match their frequency. And that's how I was able to do that, is by changing my frequency. So they also instigated my son and I through, to me, like in my dreams or whatever, because even when I'm not in physical contact, every single night they're engaging with me, either in my dream state. And with my son, he gets lots of downloads. We are different individuals, so it's done differently. And he has face-to-face contact with them as well. But they wanted us to go to Mexico, down to, it's called, and I do not know Spanish that well. The state was called Oaxaca, Oaxaca. I don't know, Oaxaca, I'm not exactly sure. And the town, we first flew into Mexico City, and then we took a short flight to Hutalco, Huataco, and we got off the plane, got on a bus, and the bus took us up this mountain for 3 hours to get to the top of the mountain. And the city was called San Jose del Pacifico. And they wanted us to meet an indigenous tribe there that lineage goes back as far as the Mayans and the Incas. And they are also called the people of the clouds, because when you're up on that mountain, you're at such high elevation. When you look down, you are above the clouds, and it's very chilly. It is not a real touristy area. Nobody speaks English. There's no ATMs. Very few people have computers or phones or electricity. And the ones that have electricity, they only use it for lighting. They still do their cooking and they're washing and all these things outside of their house, just like they did for generations. And they collect rainwater, et cetera, et cetera. And they are the most eco-friendly people I'd have ever seen in my life. And I'm sure there's many, many more, because a lot of indigenous people understand our connections with our planet Earth, understand our connections with all plants and living things on it. We all knew this and know this in our minds, and we used to know this back in older generations, but through this manipulation and programming, we are more materialistic. We are more focused on technology, and we have lost a lot of insights that we had. So by going there, they wanted us to meet the Zapotecs. They are the indigenous tribe, and they wanted us to see a race of beings, or not a race, an indigenous tribe that were on their verge of ascension, and it collapsed on them because their younger generation was so influenced by materialistic ways and technology. Their whole younger generation left that group of indigenous people, and they are now a dying tribe. So they don't really speak English. Some of them do, but so when we got there, they wanted us to, my son being a lot younger than me and more physically fit, he spent days out in forest, in the forest, traveling and learning things from the indigenous people on how they perceive plants and how they perceive life on our planet and our earth. And for me, when they would come to get us at separate times, they will never take us at the same time. However, I wake up. We were in a cabin. When they would come for him, I would wake up because I know when they're coming, and they would simply say, "This is not about you." And I just roll over and lay back down, and he would have his experience. And then later, or different ones would come for me, and I would have my own individual experience. But for me, they took me outside of the cabin on a very small deck, sitting on the side of a cliff, because everything is at a very horrible, harsh incline that I would have not been able to hike out in this type of terrain like my son can. So for me, they took me out on the porch, and they took their hands and said, "Everything is alive. Everything is alive. Everything is a living, conscious being. Everything is connected. Everything is one. You are all connected, and you are all one." And then I looked around, and I could see the trees were talking to each other. Plants were talking and communicating to each other. A tree was laughing at me. And I asked the interdimensional, "Why is that tree laughing at me?" He said, "He's not laughing at you. He's laughing at humanity." And I was like, "Why?" He goes, "Because humans breathe the air it produces, and the air that the plants and all produce, it sustains your life. It produces the wood that you warm yourself to get when you're cold. It provides wood that you create your homes that you live in. It creates all these different things that you use in your everyday life. It provides fruit, it provides nuts, et cetera, et cetera." And it went on and on, explaining all these things to me. And it said, and the reason he's laughing is because we run around chopping them down. No appreciation, no respect, and not understanding our connection with them. And that we were all, every living creature was put here on this planet to support each other, which means it's okay to use these things, but we need to have an appreciation and respect for it. And we have lost these values throughout this programming. And it was not our fault. This is the world around us has made us place our values on technology and materialistic things. So they wanted me to understand all these things. And what was so unique and beautiful about this is that my son, the next day, we didn't even have time to discuss all this really, because he got up at a very early time I was still asleep and took his backpack and went out and went many, many miles with a translator to go visit this indigenous people. And when the chief of the tribe came out of his home after hours of my son getting there, he walked out of his home and he took his hands out and said, "Everything is alive. Everything is alive," which was exactly what the interdimensionals had done with me, because this was all done for a higher purpose. They wanted us to learn and come back and tell the world about these things, that everything on our planet is alive and everything here will come together and work in unity once we realize who we are and our place. And they also want to address AI technology and how it is a man-made tool. We have to keep it as a man-made tool. We should never let it be in charge or dominate anything. And in the realm that we are in right now, these people that manipulate and control of us will take charge of it and use it to cushion their narrative, their agendas, not humanity's. We have to wake up and say, these are man-made tools, and we can use these man-made tools to enrich our lives. It will not take away all jobs like everybody says. It will help us create new jobs, new concepts. We will no longer call jobs. We will see it as our service to self, our service to our community in a loving, sharing way. And we will not focus so much on working 9 to 5 and not enjoying our human experience. We will enjoy our families more. And these things will not happen overnight, but we are going to learn to enjoy and live longer lives and healthier lives and better lives and enjoy our human experience. We were intended to enjoy this experience. It has not been enjoyed by humanity in a very, very long time. These things are changing. And that's why we are the disclosure.
Yeah, we definitely should always focus on enjoying all the good things in life. And everything is vibrating on a frequency, really, in a holographic illusion. That's why everything is alive in a way and manifesting through a certain point of view, how, it's part of the collective in a way, right?
Yes.
But I mean, if this ET female and her helpers continue to seek you out and take you with them to their mothership, but do not experiment on you, what do they use you for? I mean, are they presenting you with special knowledge about our universal connection and about the state of the world? What do they tell you, and why do they not intervene? Do you say that that's because of a universal code? But what is your why you? Why are you so special? What do they tell you? What do they do with you?
Well, I was one of them before I came here, and my purpose is to clear up misinformation, to let people know they are not here to control us. They are not here to take over. They are here to assist us. But we have to reach a level, a higher consciousness level, and understand they are a billion years ahead of us. And if they wanted to wipe us out or do anything ugly or bad, it would have already happened. They were here before we were.
So they are here to assist us, but they don't assist us.
They do assist us in ways you don't realize, because in our realm, everything you see on our news is negative. There's many times they have come down here and put a plug on nuclear power plants, turned them off. There are many times they have stopped missiles in wars throughout history. Even you can go back and look at Napoleon or even Christopher Columbus way, way back. These are not mainstream things that the world projects because they don't want us to know these things.
There are different alien types, ET beings, that are working against each other. Say, a reptilian race that are maybe shapeshifters, presenting themselves as humans, working behind the scenes in government and deep state, controlling this earthly realm through the Illuminati bloodlines, whatever, which a lot of researchers are talking about. and some have even seen these shapeshifters. And they're working against the benevolent good ETs that are trying to do good and trying to sabotage the nuclear weapons and missiles and all of that we hear about as well. So the reptilians, or maybe the archons behind that, they've taken over and they're doing this satanic mass ritual against the planet. And the humans on the planet are waking up, or at least some are. And maybe they will wake up in the future, or will they really, if their consciousness will be hijacked by AI or whatever fluids are in their body, whatever has happened here that is connecting them to a certain frequency.
In higher realms, there is no negativity. These are the ones that are around us now. And if any of them, extraterrestrials, were locked into this realm, they will not be able to ascend into the higher realms because of their negativity. So I have met reptilians. The reptilians I met, I was introduced by the female gray, taken on a craft, and I was greeted by a reptilian, and he was about 8 foot tall. He was in a suit, and I presented him. She had me present him with a blue orb. They've always told me to choose the color blue. They've always told me to, in any way, I gave him a blue orb. And what this orb represented was my soul essence, my true soul self, a representation of humanity as being love, kindness, and good, and what our goals, what we really want, what our all of our soul purposes are of being on this planet. And it was well received. So reptilians have gotten a bad rep, just like the grays. You have to understand, they look so much different than us. We are judging the book by the cover and not understanding who they truly are. They are not.
They are the ones behind the Illuminati, behind the government, behind the satanic rituals and all of that on planet Earth, which a lot of people are suggesting and saying, and
they have never met one.
Some people have. Some MK
or
mind control slaves have seen these reptilians and the Illuminati bloodlines. You know a lot of research, David Icke, and lots of other people in this community that have talked about this for 20, 30 years.
Yes, I believe, and I understand, but I come from a group that are in a realm that are above all this. So I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm saying that they have lost their control, and they are fighting tooth and nail, hoping that we will not ascend. And when the interdimensionals and all extraterrestrials that wish for humanity to enter this cosmic realm, when they saw that we were reaching higher frequencies, and when they saw that we were ascending, they came down in motherships, and they told all other beings that were not on this same agenda to leave us alone. Leave us alone. Step away. You've had your fun, so to speak. No, this will no longer happen. So I know that a lot of bad things have happened in our past, and we cannot change those things. But
a lot of bad things are happening now, and we're fearing that a lot of bad things will happen in the future if we know. A lot of us know what the so-called agenda is. Also with the fake alien invasion through Project Bluebeam and what have you.
But you see, all these things occur in this realm. We have to understand the programming. We have to understand we will not fall for this. We have to understand it no longer serves us. We have to understand fear, negativity, false news, information is done intentionally to keep us in this realm. We have to use our intelligence, walk away, and say, this, no more. No more.
All of this false news and all these bad things that we're experiencing here, Um, are they not done by the reptilians or the archons? Who's behind it?
Dark forces, and I don't know who all's in it, except there's a lot of humans, and I'm sure they do have some extraterrestrials from the lower rim that are in our realm that work with them, because as long as they're in this realm, they are in control and they cannot ascend into the higher realms. And here's another thing. We have the potential. We are multidimensional. We have the potential to become interdimensional ourselves and travel and expand throughout different universes and galaxies. And this is not within our time, our living time frame for us, but this is a future that we are the stepping stones to a future generations of humans that will do this. The ones that are locked into this 3D realm, they can never, ever leave this realm. They are locked in.
So
So
who are
they
locked
want to
into
keep
this?
us here.
Who are locked into this 3D realm? If it's not the reptilians, you say, and so it must be other extraterrestrials or interdimensional.
All humans are good and bad, and I'm sure is the ones that are in the 3D realm that we are in, they would be the ones, because they don't want us to ascend. And I don't want to label any individual one, because there's so many different races, and you can't judge by one doing one thing. You can't judge the whole race. It's just
But
like,
you will agree though that there are benevolent ETs and malevolent ETs
I really
on the
don't.
planet and maybe on other planetary systems.
I don't think so. No.
You only believe that there are good aliens?
Yes. That's
Really?
from my heart. From my heart, yes. You have to understand,
But how does that make sense when you look at the state of the world?
because
And did you never ask your ET
yes,
female this who doesn't have a name? Did you never ask who is behind all of this?
it is in our realm. We create our own realities. We are in this reality. And as long as we feed on the negativity will be all around us. When we learn that we can become higher and have a higher purpose and mission, our soul selves, what we are here for. We're not here to play the game, the programmed game. We're here to change the game. So most of these things are human concepts of a reality that we have no understanding of. And like I said earlier, you cannot humanize billions of years of evolution ahead of us. There's nothing human about it. So when you're talking about
They
trying
know
to
what's
label,
going to happen with humanity if they're billions of
no,
years ahead.
yes. And that's why I know that we will not wipe ourselves out. I know that we will become better human beings. I know that we will leave this realm. But that if you ask me a time frame, I can't tell you that, because there is no such thing as time in their realm. And a lot of it depends on us. It depends on our overall, not just a few of us, but the whole world waking up. And there's no way of knowing what's going to happen in between to get us all to that point. But I truly, truly, from my heart and from everything that they've told me, we try to humanize things and see evil even in realms that we do not understand.
But
It is not human.
You're talking about something that is only good, that is above us or greater than us, so to speak. But
Yes.
everything that is dark, even everybody doing these satanic rituals, having seen these demonic entities manifest these rituals, that's only human, you say? What about people who've seen these demons and reptilians or shadows or dark
I've seen
beings?
reptilians, and the one I saw was beautiful and positive.
But
So you have to
they could have
understand, we
presented themselves that way to you. They could have
no,
projected that feeling just in the heavenly realm if the archons are doing this soul harvesting factory there called heaven.
there is no place as heaven, and there is no hell. There is a creator source, and we create our own reality. And if you leave this earth, a lot of people think that you'll see what you've been programmed to see. I think that through this evolutionary process, all these things are going to change. We are going to understand who we are, why we chose to come to earth, what our purpose is. And we will leave this negative realm and have a better understanding of who we are and our place within the cosmic realm and on our planet. And this is what the whole planet Earth and every living creature on it and the interdimensionals and our creator source and the extraterrestrials have been waiting for, because we are filled with all these negative thoughts and attitudes, perceptions of what universes and things we don't live in. We try to perceive it and humanize it. And there is no way to do that, because they are not human. We are human here. But when we leave this human body, we are not human. We are energy beings. So this is just a realm full of negativity. But we are here to change that on the planet Earth. We are all here. And that's why I say we are the disclosure. We're not here to play the game of being programmed. We're here to change it and end it. And when people in the future come to Earth, it's going to be a beautiful experience, and they will live longer lives, and they will enjoy their families and enjoy all the beautiful things on our planet it has to offer, and not be so focused into the negative aspects. There will be no wars. There will be no poverty. There will be no diseases. We should not have diseases. Everything when we were created was put here in plant form or whatever to cure all things and to help us live long lives. This negative aspects have taken this away from us, because it is a form of population control. The manipulation and all these things were done intentionally to keep us in this realm.
Definitely.
We have to wake up.
Absolutely. Yes.
We have to wake up. Remember who we are. We're not here to play this game.
That is the most important mission. Obviously, I totally agree. But let me just ask you, I mean, have you ever asked yourself, could this be real, that what you've experienced your entire life? I mean, you worked for years in the military, and they're of course known to have access to advanced secret technology as well as well-known technology. But could you, for example, have been programmed massively through mind control, MK Ultra yourself, with this false memory syndrome and implanted memories by the military?
I have face-to-face physical contact. I touch them. I feel the love. It is a frequency that is hard to even put in words. It is beautiful. And I understand people say, how could this be? And there were times that I felt the same way. But I can tell you this, I am speaking to you from my heart, from my experiences. And they gifted me this because, and I went through the things in my life to make me who I am today, to be able to have the confidence and to face these challenges and these questions, because I understand, I understand it's a hard thing to understand, but our world is changing all around us.
Well, it's an important question, because probably a lot of viewers watching this ask that question. Could she possibly have been under mind control, working for the military, being implanted with this false memory syndrome, for example? That has happened to people.
But they have, no, I guarantee you that has not happened to me, because I am speaking from love, pure physical contact. My children are experiencing the same thing.
You've talked about your children, especially one of your sons. How does he experience it, and how is he involved? I mean, and does he see the same group of ETs, or what's his thing here?
He has had the same experience. My oldest son has had the same experiences that I have had, and gets downloads. And we both, I understand now why we came here together. In that reality, I don't know what our connection was. I don't know if he was my son and I was his mother there. I don't know. We don't know. He doesn't know. But we do know that we both came here to support and assist each other. And it's beautiful. Me growing up all my life and not having anyone to talk to, it was very hard, very hard. But now he's experiencing and doing all this, and come to find out he's had all these experiences all his life. I only saw the first time that they had their contact, but he's had many, many more. But we have these conversations now that is beautiful and stuff. And he's fully supported, of course. He's who helped me and made my website, timefordisclosure.com. He is who helped me. He bought all this equipment so that I can do our sole mission. This is his mission as well as mine. My children are younger than me and have young children. My youngest son just lost his wife at 29 years old. And he is, yes, she died on Thanksgiving Day. And
oh my God, why so early, so young?
He is raising a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old on his own. So his purpose right now is to get his human life in order. And throughout our lives, we've had to prioritize our human life. I'm older. I'm single. I am at a point where I don't care whether people believe me or not. They are still in the prime of their human experience. They have to balance out the extraterrestrial interdimensional experience life that we experience at night, and then have our daytime human lives. So for me, it's a lot easier to get out here.
What is their mission with your son or your sons, for example?
The same as me, only when I'm dead and gone, they will take it a step further. I am opening opportunities and doors, making connections, so that if I'm unable to do what I'm doing, they will continue it even stronger.
And what would you say if you sort of say it in a nutshell, in a way, for people to understand? What is your mission?
My mission is to let people understand we are not alone in the universe. We have never been alone. And that they are not here to take over. They are not here to control or manipulate. They understand how hard it has been to be in our realm, and that we have been controlled and manipulated. And they have simply been waiting for us to reach a level that we know and understand they are not gods. They are not angels. They are simply beings that are a billion years ahead of us. And they want to help us because we are at a pivotal moment in time where we will either use our technology for the better or to destroy ourselves and make our lives even harder and keep us in this negative realm.
Mm-hmm. Some people suggest that the government is actually has implemented this whole UFO alien narrative in order to confuse people, give them false hope about what is out there in the universe. And maybe there's a whole different reality and different realms, and maybe a lot of these ET beings are here on planet Earth, or maybe below us, or I mean, in a hollow Earth in a way. A lot of people talk about that. But also, a lot has come out, and it has been an official narrative that we don't talk about aliens, but we do. And we talk more about that than we talk about what's going on politically, financially, with the Illuminati, New World Order, and things we cannot even mention anymore, which has to do with who we are as humans. I mean, think about it. But the aliens we can talk about, and we can say, oh no, we can't really talk about it. So could that be because they are promoting a false narrative, also to fear something from outside, because maybe they want to do this staged false fake alien invasion that Werner von Braun, this Nazi German scientist who worked for NASA, revealed to Carol Rosin in 1976.
Yes, Werner von Braun, yes, yes. Just as many humans that came here to Earth to do the positive side of things, there are those that incarnated here to do the negative, okay? So we have to understand what we're up against here, and we have to stay strong, be patient, let evolution run its course, because there is no stopping evolution. There is no stopping what the grand event is, which is disclosure of all. And the fact that we are reaching higher levels of consciousness gives anybody with any intelligence on government level to know that our world is changing. Everything is changing. And extraterrestrials and interdimensionals are all over this place watching us. They know this. So for the ones that want to look at it from a negative side, they can use this to try to get funding to put weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapons, into space by using fear and saying, we want you to be scared. Help us get this funding to secure our planet. But the reality of it is they will never allow that to happen, because whatever we do on this planet, however these nuclear weapons would affect us, it will ripple out into the universe and affect them, because we are all one. We are all connected. So that will never happen. So we have to understand the big picture, the big game plan here. And it is like a big, huge game. And we have to understand using our higher intelligence and make the right decisions and not be manipulated and not walk away from these negative aspects.
Even without the alien aspect and all of the ET alien stuff we've been talking about, we just take it down to earth on a human level. It has to do with standing in your own truth. It has to do to be true to yourself, being an intuitive, understanding who you are, not being fearful, not succumb to domination by the politicians, the media, everybody around us, the educational system, you name it. So it has to do with bravery, really, right? And no fear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to understand, our politicians are temporary seat holders. Humanity is huge in number. That's why I think they're using incarnates like me to reach humanity, because if we can eventually get all of humanity on board, we're unstoppable. And you have to understand, a lot of these government officials go in with good intentions, but they were put in their position by these super elites, very rich people that get them in office. And once they're in office, they are controlled and manipulated just like we are. They really can't even do what they went there to do. It gets shut down. Or they are, I hate to use the word blackmailed, but they are reminded of who put them in their position. So our government really doesn't have a lot of control of these dark forces that have been doing this to humanity. So I'm reaching out to humanity, and I think that's what the extraterrestrials and interdimensionals are doing, because it's going to take a worldwide phenomenon, just like their presence would be, to wake the world up.
So do you believe that something good is around the corner, or do we have to face a lot of bad stuff in the near future?
I know this. I know that we have everything in the world to look forward to. And I do know if there were to be a mishap, which I don't think there will be, but if it were to occur, it would be a minor mishap. It would not be a worldwide event. And if it does happen, it is something that had to occur and had to be allowed to wake the whole world up, because they cannot do anything as long as we are locked into this realm. And as long as, as long as we've made agreements and things prior to coming to Earth, they cannot interfere until we get to a higher level of consciousness. And then I think they will be allowed to show themselves more, interact more, but not in the fashion of controlling or dominating, only in a fashion of assisting. Yeah.
In our remaining moments, what's the best, most positive message for people, having listened to this dynamic conversation, me confronting you a little bit, but also talking about, your experiences and, how we can get as deep into this topic as possible.
Look within, meditate to your subconscious, ask your subconscious to open up into your human consciousness and help you understand your soul purpose, your soul mission on why you came to earth, help you to understand these challenging changes that are surrounding us in the days to come, and help you to deal with your fears, help you to make good decisions and open your mind up to opportunities. So figure out who you are within, work on yourself, then try to and work at being a more positive human being. Work on ourselves first, then work with our children, then work towards our friends, and then let it expand. And people will pick up on your new frequency and new energy, and it feels really good. And they will want to jump on that same frequency. And that will how it spreads throughout humanity. So work on our inner selves first. And I'm not asking anybody to believe anything I say. I'm saying look within, figure out who you are and why you came here. And when you do, you will understand the beautiful, wonderful human beings that we are, and we are the disclosure.
A very important message for everybody. And
Thank
I think
you.
they should listen to that last thing you just said again, because it's very, very true.
Thank you.
Before we leave today, Nancy, please tell people how they can contact you or know more about you.
My name is Nancy Thames, and I am have a Facebook group called Time for Disclosure / We Are the Disclosure. We have never been alone. It's worded a little differently. It's Time for Disclosure / We Have Never Been Alone. We are the disclosure, because I truly believe that. And then my website is timefordisclosure.com. So anywhere on there, you can find me on Facebook. I belong to many groups. I think they're all working towards the same positive goals for humanity. And I consider myself a humanitarian, and I love everything about humanity. And I'm not here to sell you anything. Eventually, someday, I will write a book, because I want my grandchildren to be proud of who I've become, and, and hopefully follow in my footsteps to help humanity. So that is it. That's all it is. I am who I am.
Thank you for being a humanitarian, and thank you very much for being on Age of Truth TV.
Thank you so much. And, this is an experience for me to help me. This will help me. And, I love it. I'm so thankful that you let me be a part of your program. And, I hope that, you're okay with what I said and stuff like that. I mean, I don't expect you to believe everything I said either, but, I believe what I said, because it is my mission, and it's through my footsteps that I experience these things. So, and I understand that. So,
well, it's not really what I believe. It's more about what message you have for the audience watching, and people that can watch this video now and in the future. So it's important to really go deep here. And I think it's great that you're explaining your truth, and whatever we can learn from being in an interesting and great conversation is very good. And there's a takeaway from that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to Nancy Thames, and thanks to all of you for watching Age of Truth TV. You can support us by clicking onto our website, ageoftruthtv. And please like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications. You can sign up for our newsletter on our website, ageoftruthtv as well. Please also subscribe to our alternative channels on BitChute and Brighteon. Your support is greatly appreciated and very needed. And on behalf of the Age of Truth TV team, we thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.